The story. The Prophet ﷺ, there's a common myth that he was praying one day and Jibreel came down and told him to pray the other way, so he turned around and the whole masjid turned around. This is a myth. This is not true. In fact, this is a confusion later on that took place. The authentic reports are very clear. And that is that the Prophet ﷺ prayed Fajr, facing Jerusalem, and then he prayed Dhuhr facing Mecca. So the commandments came down in the early morning. The commandment came down in the early morning. And when it came down, the Prophet ﷺ announced that the change of Qibla has occurred in his masjid. And so, what used to be the front of the masjid became the back of the masjid. And the Prophet ﷺ then went to what was the back, and from henceforth it became the front until he passed away, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, those people who prayed Dhuhr in the masjid, they went back to their homes. And one of them reached the famous masjid that we now call Mashjid Qiblatain. And this masjid was the masjid of the tribe of Banu Salama. Banu Salama. Mashjid Qiblatain, by the way, is right outside my own alma mater, the University of Medina. It's walking distance from Mashjid Qiblatain. If you're at Mashjid Qiblatain, there's a roundabout there. You turn left at the roundabout. That's where my university, where I studied for 10 years, is over there. It's literally right behind the Mashjid Qiblatain. The Mashjid Qiblatain was the tribe of Banu Salama. Now, the Sahabi prayed Dhuhr in the Prophet's masjid, and he strolled back. Maybe he did some other errands. By the time he got back home, they were already praying Asr. So when he saw them praying Asr, he was shocked because he wanted to get there before, to tell them. But they're in the middle of the prayer. So he cried out from the back of the masjid that, "O people of the masjid, I have just come from the Prophet's masjid, and I prayed with him Dhuhr, and he was praying facing Mecca. The command has come to pray facing Mecca." So this was the masjid, Mashjid Qiblatain, not the Prophet ﷺ. The Imam of that masjid and the Sahaba in that masjid, and they're all Sahaba. That was the masjid where they turned around and the Imam walked straight through the entire sufuf, and everybody basically turned around where they were, right? And that's why it was called Mashjid Qiblatain. Okay, that's why it's called Mashjid Qiblatain. It was not something the Prophet ﷺ himself did. By the way, I wish I could go over this whole page of Surah Al-Baqarah. It's very important, but we don't have time for this. But one more ayah that is very relevant for this whole section, and you all know this ayah. It came down smack in the middle of the verses of Qibla. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. This is how we have made you a wasat ummah. This is a famous verse, everybody knows it, right? Ummatan wasat, the phrase. The context of this verse is what? Qibla.